All right. Hey, welcome to Game Time with Doc and Lurch. Lurch just went to go grab a drink real quick. Kind of the getting started things going. But while he's doing that, I'm going to do a real quick sound check here. Let me get that set up and ready to go. So make sure we can hear me. Okay, just refresh my monitor page. There's Lurch
Oh,
there. I'm going to do the sound check. Check one, two, check
I,
one, two. I'm going to do the sound check. Check one, two, check
I,
one, two. I'm going to do
Checkity
the
check.
sound check. Check one, two, check
I,
one, two. I'm going to do
Checkity
the
check.
sound check. Okay, yeah, you can hear us both pretty good there. You got back just in time to do a checkity check. Let me pop out the chat screen so I can see if any of you guys want to talk. So we can do that. All right. Okay, and let's go ahead and open up to. All right. This is Game Time with Doc and Lurch. We're here with you every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we talk about anything and everything happening in the nerdosphere. Um, Now, we've been kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern. We just changed our new schedule last week, but we've been in a little bit of a holding pattern because the CW verse took a little bit of time off for the Olympics. But they will be back tomorrow. In fact, tonight is the if you watch on live TV, tonight is the first episode start to show on the CW. So we'll see them streaming tomorrow and the next day. So we'll be back with CW shows next week as our main media content. But we've got some filler for this week. As you know, we do kind of feature a little bit the CW verse. It is kind of one of our focuses. Um, but for those who don't know, we're part of Eclectic Endeavors. We're the group that brings you the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo and the Picnic at the End of the Universe. Also, board game night at Holdfest Brewing Company, which the third Wednesday of every month you can find Greg Pullman there. He's a director of tabletop gaming for us, and he's over there. He used to be one of our hosts here, but scheduling made it to where he had to kind of drop out of being a host. Uh, we all have busy lives.
Yeah.
Um, excuse me. But I am director of cross promotions and the panel director this year for Game. And my co-host Lurch is the co-chairman and director of electronic gaming. If you want to know anything
Yeah.
about console games, he's the guy to go to, and he'll generally give you the console news, what's going on, what's new and happening in the electronic gaming world, console wise. Um, that's usually going to be his focus. Where I'm going to talk about role playing games, uh, card games, board games, and MMOs, computer MMOs. Those are going to be my kind of focus. We're both big comic book nerds, so we're going to talk about Marvel. We're going to talk about DC. We're going to talk about some independent kind of comic booky movies and games sometimes. So if you're not familiar with us, check us out over on our YouTube channel. Just look up Gamer Seuss on YouTube. Then there's a playlist Game Time. That's all old episodes of the show. Anyway, we're going to kick things off. Lurch is going to start us off with some console gaming stuff. So I'm going to bring up his topic. You'll see it in the middle pane here. And it has to do with the PlayStation VR.
Yes. So just today, PlayStation has revealed the final look, the design for the VR, the hardware for the new PlayStation VR2 headset.
Wow. Very
So
space age looking.
yeah, it looks pretty slick, doesn't it?
Very, very,
They
very Star Trek. Very, very next generation Star Trek. Very, very smooth curves and clean lines. Let's see.
Yeah, they wanted to, they said that Sony says that they're trying to kind of match uh, the design motifs of the PS5 aesthetic.
Hmm.
Um, the Like they describe here on GameSpot.com, that Sony has said that the circular orb shape represents the 360-degree view that players feel when they enter the world of virtual reality and ties into the design aesthetic of the PS5 family of products.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's a good aesthetic to go with. I like it.
yeah. And it says other features of the headset include a focus on comfort, as the hardware has a lens adjustment dial for users to dial in the distance between their eyes and the lenses, a slight weight reduction when compared to the previous VR model, and a new vent design. The quote, Sony Entertainment or SIE Senior Art Director Yojin Marisaba, as he explained, quote, when I started to work on the design for the PlayStation VR2 headset, one of the areas I wanted to focus on first was the idea of creating a vent in the headset to let air out, similar to the vents in the PS5 console that allows airflow. Our engineers came up with this idea as a good way to allow ventilation and avoid having the lens fog up while players are immersed in their VR games. I don't know how much time you've spent in VR, but yeah, if you're doing anything that like builds up a lot of body heat, you're like Beat Saber, for example, the lenses would always fog up. Whenever I would play Beat Saber, pretty much like every two songs, I have to take the goggles off and
Wipe them off
wipe
with
the
the cloth.
lenses off with a cloth. Yeah, I have this like microfiber cloth I keep nearby to wipe off the lenses. I worked on many design concepts to achieve this, and in the final design, you can see there's a little space in between the top and front surface of the scope that contains integrated ventilation. I'm really proud of how this turned out and the positive feedback I have gotten so far. I hope our PlayStation fans also agree and can't wait for them to try it out.
I still haven't had
Uh,
a chance to try out the VR. Like I said, I wanted to try what was it? Elder Scrolls VR or Skyrim VR or whatever at game, but every time I went over there by the machine, it had a line, and I was not going to jump the line. And then, of course, with being busy with the con, I'm just not as free to just float over there whenever I want
yeah,
or wait in line forever. So, as one of these
I
times,
like
I'll just
the
have to come over to your house and play or something.
yeah, yeah. I've got the PlayStation VR and I have the Oculus Quest 2, and I will definitely be getting the PSVR 2 whenever it releases. We still don't know the price or release date yet for it.
Yep.
Um, but they said that according to this article, Sony mentioned that more details will be revealed soon, as you would expect them to say. Um, anyway, yeah, I just like looking over this picture, and this I realized after I sent you the link, this is maybe not the best page. Because I also went to the it's pretty similar. I also pulled up the blog, the PlayStation blog, to uh double check the accuracy of this announcement. I want to make sure I wasn't getting some kind of prank post or something, because and I don't know. I was just looking at this headset. It looks really sleek. The old design, did a good job at balancing the weight. Having same amount of weight on the back as is the front, so that it doesn't hurt your neck as much, and it just kind of feels more comfortable. This one sounds like they're making it lighter weight enough that they don't have to have as much of a bulk on the back of it to make up for the weight of the front.
Right.
And we've talked before about the other technical specs. Just today, we finally get to see what the things looks like.
Oh yeah.
And
Like I
I'm
said,
pretty. I'm.
I'm just waiting for that haptic bench to come out where you lay down and it's got the whole thing going on with the 360-degree movement gyro thing. Strap you in. Let's go.
Yeah.
I want the total haptic experience, man.
I mean, I think there's some places that I don't know if you're ever going to get that at home, but they definitely have that in businesses.
Well,
Um,
eventually, if they get it in businesses, it'll eventually go to the home, but it'll be the ones that are willing to spend a pretty penny to do it,
mm,
and then it'll gradually go down in price as more stuff comes out. You know how it is.
yeah,
It's just whether it'll
yeah.
happen in my lifetime or not. But I would totally want to do that VR lawnmower man walking the cloud kind of thing where I'm like just totally there and put myself in my D&D game. Is like uh, I want the holodeck. It's just basically what I want. I want the holodeck. Or I want to plug in like freaking Ready Player One and just totally be there.
I think you mentioned the holodeck and Ready Player One every time I bring up the anything VR related.
I probably do because I'm that obsessive about this particular technology.
Hmm.
If my health was better, I would probably buy a PSVR or an Oculus Quest 2 just because I'm that obsessed about
Yeah.
VR type games. But with the way my health is invested in that now, it's like a little bit too little, too late for me to own my own. But
Mm,
that doesn't mean I couldn't play it. I have more important things. Unfortunately, life
yeah.
has more important things for my money.
Yeah.
What little money I get being on disability and
Oh,
everything.
always fair. Always fair.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to the next. Now, I like to keep us up to date on things on Kickstarter. And if you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu, and then who's not a fan of Cthulhu, there's a
Hmm.
new Cthulhu role playing game coming out that was funded in 40 minutes. Okay. It's called Awakens, and it's a campaign that happens from like the 1920s to the present. They were asking for $10,000 in their campaign. They're already up to 63,000, so they got over
Woo.
6 times what they were asking. And there's 29 days to go, so it's only been running for like a day. And it's
Wow.
got 1,000 backers already. They're out of Seattle, Washington, so they're pretty close. You know, it's here in the U.S. Um, at least, and it's Cthulhu Awakens brings the cosmic horror and the Cthulhu mythos from the unimaginable past through the 1920s and into the 21st century in a complete role-playing game powered by the AGE system, the Adventure Game Engine. Um, and We're the edge of the apocalypse. The weird century started in the 1920s and ends now. That's when the entities of the mythos, the alien remnants of the colonization wars, parahuman underground civilizations, and restless gods began to stir as we liberate the secrets of chemistry, atomic power, genetics, and digital information. That's when more Yithians came, operating stolen bodies to engineer history to their liking. That's when Dagon worship moved from seaside villages to self-help paperbacks and um, endlessly hawked on television, then the web. That's when your forebears dared to investigate the rising strangeness, cutting through the lies spread by cults and power brokers, follows their footsteps across the decades. Now, of course, Cthulhu is probably the most memorable and recognizable of the Cthulhu mythos or the H.P. Lovecraft mythos creatures, being a big squid-headed god with bat wings that just uh, cause insanity just to look at him. But Dagon and the deep ones and everything are all part of this mythology. And we've had a lot of board games and card games we've talked about in the Cthulhu mythos. There've been a few other versions of Cthulhu as role playing games. In fact, Call of Cthulhu, the classic role playing game, is still the number one selling role playing game in Japan. It's the only thing beating out 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons in Japan. And they say that's partly because in Japan, a large portion of their role playing game community are women, and women tend to gravitate towards Cthulhu, at least in Japan. Cthulhu type horror, more based on going insane than killing everybody. Not as much bloodbath, but psychologically attacking you. It's big in Japan. I mean, The Ring, which was such a popular movie here in the United States, was based on a Japanese movie called Rangu. And it just shows you what true psychological horror can do. You don't have to have buckets of blood and bleeding walls and stuff to scare somebody. There's all kinds of ways to scare somebody that has nothing to do with that. And especially Japanese cinema is really good at it. And so Cthulhu really appeals to people who like that kind of mental brain fuck. Yeah, I mean, if you've ever played Elder Signs or something like that, some of the board games that we've played, they take a while to play. These are not casual games. These are for serious board gamers, because you can spend 2 to 4 hours playing Elder Signs or some of those games. But the themes of Cthulhu are thinking man's horror, and they really get you. Like there you go. You got a pretty nasty version of Cthulhu there, Dagon, and a deep one. They've already unlocked 10 new Eldritch workings and 2 adventures. You got role playing across the weird century, powered by AGE. The Cthulhu Awakens RPG is already designed, written, and heading into editing. There will be additional design work needed to unlock stretch goals and a large amount of art still to be commissioned, but the core of the game is a manuscript is complete. Features include a complete game that uses the adventure game engine, the same system that powers Fantasy AGE, Modern AGE, Blue Rose, and the Expanse role-playing games. Evolved from Modern AGE, Cthulhu Awakens is a substantially compatible with other AGE games as well. All you need is 3 6-sided dice, writing material, and friends ready for strange, terrifying stories. You can also, of course, check out the AGE engine online by going to their website. Is about the epic weird century, which takes place in the 1920s to the present. Allows you to play in any era within it, and even in alternative histories connected through the Demimondes. It's kind of like their version of the multiverse. Cthulhu Awakens is for everyone, and it assumes the biases in the source material are deceptions hinting at the truth. Anyone can reach for the terrible power of the mythos, and everyone must oppose it. It is a game of dramatic action. The AGE system punctuates success with stunts ranging from the esoteric insight to the deadly accuracy. It allows you to draw on bonds representing your deepest beliefs and loves, or the hindrances of obsession. Exposes heroes to alienation, not madness, because the mythos deals with unendurable cosmic truths. Actually, I don't know. It still would call it madness when you're dealing with Cthulhu, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's battle against cults, monsters, and gods. The menagerie of the mythos is presented for your horror and perusal alongside hard-bitten private eyes, scholars with sorcerer's secrets, and an assortment of other monsters and NPCs. The writing and design team includes Shirang Biswas, David Castro, Elizabeth. Don't even ask me to pronounce that last name. Iranikota, H.D. Ingram, Kudon Khalil, Danielle Lazan, and a whole bunch of other people in the creative team. It's looking real good. There's going to be a Roll20 edition, standard edition, and it's something to check out. But you got to. This time, I've given you more than 3 to 5 days to respond. I know the last couple of Kickstarters I gave you, they were near the end of the campaign. You got 29 days to get in on this one if you want to back it. We should check. Let's look on the backing real quick too to see how quickly fulfillment is estimated at. Of course, save it for later. Pledge $20 for retailers only. January 2023, it looks like. So you got less than a year, or a PDF edition, December 2022. So if you want to get the PDF, not physical, they're estimating that you'll get it by, Christmas of this year. So not bad. And the Roll20 edition, which will allow you to play on the Roll20.net platform, is January. Gives you some digital stretch goals, like I'm sure some of the stretch goals will include digital tokens and everything. And they're really pretty reasonable pricing, it looks like. Standard printed book for $60. You get the standard edition, you get the PDF, you get all the digital stretch goals, and all the print stretch goals. Not bad for $60. Anyway, that's my recommendation from Kickstarter this week. For role-playing games, we always like to visit the Cthulhu mythos. If you've ever read H.P. Lovecraft, from the Call of Cthulhu short story to some of the much longer Lovecraftian tales, you'll know that it's a very special universe that you don't want to visit with the lights off and nobody home, because you'll drive yourself a little bit insane. Or if you're like me, you might go sane, which is even worse. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to end it there, unless Lurch has any questions or anything.
No, not specifically. Just I'm impressed that they were able to fund it in 40 minutes.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
Cthulhu stuff is really popular. It gets attention very quickly.
The thing that surprised me is that they were able to make another RPG, because Call of Cthulhu is doing so well, and Chaosium owns Call of Cthulhu, and it's their signature item. I mean, it's their most selling product.
Yeah.
And it's a tabletop RPG. I would not have thought they'd have licensed it to another company. So
isn't Cthulhu a public domain character that anyone can use?
The Cthulhu mythos, no, you have to have licensing for it as a role-playing game. H.P. Lovecraft, his stories are in the public domain, but for using them as a basis for games and stuff, there are some licensing still involved. But it could be they could be leaning on the public domain side of things. We'll see what happens there. It's Green Ronin Publishing, which is a big company in the role-playing game field, so they should have dotted their I's and crossed their T's. But we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go ahead and click it over to your next topic, which is, Wii U and 3DS games.
Yeah. So first off, I got to bring up that Nintendo's announced that they are closing the Wii U and 3DS eShops.
Which I think you mentioned before.
Did I mention that before? It actually shuts down late March 2023. Where you'll no longer be able to make purchases, download demos or themes, redeem a download code, or add funds. However, there is a bit of a stepping down process where it's going to gradually become less convenient to buy things off of there. So while it'd still be up, you'll still be able to re-download purchased games after that, but you won't be able to purchase anything new. But before we get there, we have kind of a stepping down process where May 23rd of this year, you'll no longer be able to add funds using a credit card to a 3DS or a Wii U eShop account. So if you want to put money on your account, you have to use either an eShop card or have your eShop account for 3DS and Wii U linked with your Nintendo Switch account, so that you can then add funds using your Switch that are then spendable on your 3DS and Wii U. And then on August 29th of this year, you'll no longer be possible to use an eShop card to add funds, so that option will then be removed. You can still redeem download codes of individual items, and make use of your wallet if you have it attached to your other Nintendo account still. And then of course in March of next year it'll be turned off. And anyway, I wanted to share this article that IGN put together of over 100 Wii U and 3DS games worth downloading before the eShops close. And then have all kinds of great recommendations. They got some stuff I wasn't expecting, like Rhythm Haven Megamex, Fire Emblem Fates Revelation for 3DS. A game that I've been seeing people pop up a lot with is this game called Pocket Card Jockey for 3DS, which is a game made by Game Freak, the Pokemon team. However, that's not anything to do with Pokemon. It's apparently horse racing and solitaire combined. But I've seen it lauded online recently as a really great game, and so I'm gonna have to take a look at it. And it also mentions the section called 3D Classics line on the 3DS, where it takes classic video games, like Nintendo took some classic Nintendo games and updated them with stereoscopic 3D. So we got a handful here like Kirby's Adventure, Excitebike, Kid Icarus, Xevious, Twinbee, Urban Champion, all with 3D stereoscopic stuff.
Dr. Luigi.
Yeah, Dr. Luigi, which is obviously a Dr. Mario spin-off where you're playing as Luigi instead.
Mario
They've got a
Kart
list.
Donkey Kong Tipping Stars.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle game. Where they're kind of competing. One here, it's like the various puzzles and miniature versions of the Mushroom Kingdom cast. I wanted to put. There's just one that really caught my attention: Sonic Lost World DLC. Um, it's a Sonic game that has the Sonic game itself is available on PC, but only on the Wii U can you get the DLC that has levels based on Yoshi and Legend of Zelda, which sounded really great to me. I like here, if you ever wanted to run around Hyrule as Sonic, dressed in Link's tunic, now's the time to strike. That sold me on that game. I didn't really, I was almost gonna skim over it, but I, read it and was like, oh, Legend of Zelda and Yoshi stages? Alright, I'm gonna give that a try.
Metroid.
So yeah, Star Fox Zero Missions. I like how this article, not only is it's not just a list of over 100 games to check out for those two shops, but it gives you some descriptions on why these games or these versions of these games are worth checking out.
The Metroid trilogy. Nice.
Yeah, I bought that one. I bought the Metroid Prime trilogy off my Wii U just a few months ago before the Metroid Dread came out, and then played those to get kind of caught up.
Wario Land 4.
Yeah,
Jeez,
actually,
there's some killer titles here.
yeah. There's a lot of great stuff on these stores, and it's a shame these are not available on the Switch. And they're shutting down the Wii U and 3DS stores in a year. It's always frustrating to me when these online shops get shut down without passing along the content of these shops up to the next generation of hardware, to be playable, to be purchasable, or whatever. They have a ton of Legend of Zelda games. I think they describe it here. You can access the Wii U and 3DS are a paradise for Zelda fans. You can access virtually every mainline Zelda title on if you have both systems. Um,
Right?
I just purchased and they're generally pretty cheap too. I just purchased Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, which were like old Game Boy Color games. I played Oracle of Ages and I liked it quite a bit, and I hear that Seasons is better. Um, and they were like, I think they were like $10 each, something like that. Metroid Zero Mission, which a bunch of Metroid games. Oh, pretty much the whole Metroid franchise almost is on those two eShops. Those I know personally because I actually happened to purchase. Like I bought the Prime trilogy. I bought Fusion. I bought Samus Returns, which is Samus Returns is an amazing remake of Metroid 2.
Right?
Um, and then quite a few Kirby games. There was a Mario game I wanted to call out here. Oh, here it is. Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers
Yeah.
3,
Yeah, I
which
was about to bring that one up too.
yeah,
Mario
it's a
3 is one of my
ridiculous
all-time favorites.
yeah. So it's a ridiculous title, but it's Super Mario Brothers 3, but with an extra 38 bonus levels that weren't in the original Mario 3 game.
They used to use a special limited edition peripheral thing for e-reader.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this game was made for Game Boy Advance, and it had an e-reader you could connect to your Game Boy Advance to unlock additional levels. But for the Virtual Console version on the Wii U, they just has
Do it on the
all
screen.
38 of
Yeah.
those on there. Yeah, yeah, you do it on the screen. You don't have to have the e-reader and the cards. And those 38 bonus levels that's awesome because I
They're supposed
loved
to be
Super Mario
awesome, yeah.
Brothers 3.
And 3 is one of the best Super Mario games to come out. It really was. Wasn't 3 was the one that introduced the raccoon tail, wasn't it?
Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
that was the one with the raccoon tail.
Yeah, and you introduced the raccoon tail, so you had that. Because I loved 2 and I loved 3, but 3 had the raccoon tail, which I used to see. We come over to your friend after it came out. You went over to anybody's friend's house, and if they had their Nintendo going, you'd see them flying around with the raccoon tail because they'd be like, "That's they obsessed on the game." Everybody in the block. That's the game that everybody was playing at the time because it was just the Mario game to play. Uh, I mean, my house, you'd sometimes maybe see me playing Mario 2 because I also love 2. But 3 was the one that you could almost bet somebody would have on their console uh, if they were playing Mario at all. And
Yeah,
that was it. That was the Mario to play. Wow, this is a heck of a list.
yeah.
Ah, almost
They
makes me
also
want to
got.
hook up my Wii U and just hit the download shop. My Wii U's not even hooked up right now,
Mm.
and I don't have
There's
a
also a
3DS.
there's also a ton of Pokemon games on there. Like they
Yeah,
have red, blue,
Patrick would love
yellow.
that. Patrick would love that.
Yeah, they have red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal, moon, sun, ultra moon, Omega Ruby, ultra. Hang on, Omega Ruby, and I forget what the Sapphire one is now.
Right.
Um,
But the
but
gemstone ones, and then
yeah, they have. If
just
you
about
really
every
look at it,
Pokemon. Yeah.
they have just about every Pokemon game that had come out by with
With
by
the
their
with
lifetime or
the
sooner, except for the black and white games. For whatever reason, black and white versions 1 and 2 are not on there, and their physical copies are $100 plus, and so
that could be part of it.
I'm hoping for a digital version of those games before too long. I never played them, and they're quite divisive, but very very good. Um. So yeah, just a ton of those. You got Pikmin games. At least the first two Pikmin games. Um,
You got all kinds of the Mario variant games like the Wario and the Luigi titles and stuff.
yeah,
It's got a good mix and a
yeah.
ton of Zelda, a ton of
I like
Zelda
how
games.
I like how here at the bottom, like so most of it is mostly focused on games that are either virtual console games from older generations or whatever, but or games that aren't on a physical media that's as recent as the last 15 years. But then I also like how they have a section down here and near the bottom of this list. It's like physical Wii U and 3DS games that are very expensive. Um, and yeah, like some games are just real expensive to buy the physical versions, and you can get the digital ones for $20 or $40 instead of 80 or $100 online.
Yeah, Twilight Princess,
Gosh,
Majora's Mask.
um, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna drop this into the chat if it'll let me. I don't know. I'm gonna try to drop the link of this in the chat, but if it doesn't pop up, you can go to IGN.com articles, 3DS and Wii U games to buy.
It popped up.
Um, there's just a lot to go through here, and it's worth. Shin Megami Tensei, which is I haven't had a chance to play them, but I've been seeing a lot about them. That's really getting my attention, and apparently they're recommended for people who like Pokemon games but want something a little bit more mature. Because instead of collecting pocket monsters, you're collecting demons.
Right.
Um, and there's a little bit more of a mature theme to it, which sounds really cool. There's quite a few Shin Megami Tensei games available on the 3DS.
Anybody who likes CCG type digital games would probably like. If they like
Yeah,
collector
yeah,
games, these are the games that you want. And
yeah.
um,
Oh, Kid Icarus Uprising. I just played this game, I don't know, 3 months ago for the first time. I bought it off the eShop. I don't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but the physical copy of it is currently going around $55. And I think I bought it for I think I bought it for like $20 or something off of the 3DS store. I could be a little bit wrong. Um, Kid Icarus Uprising was a freaking awesome 3DS game. My only complaint is like my hands are getting a little like old and whatever and sore, and so the way because you play by like holding the 3DS with your left hand, and you have your stylus in your right hand, and you touch the screen with the stylus to aim at enemies while you hit the left trigger to shoot your ranged attacks and stuff. It was really interesting gameplay design, and it's just a really fun game made by the guy who created the Smash Brothers franchise. Um, anyway, it's definitely a game worth checking out. I had a ton of fun on that. But yeah, this list is just full of great stuff. And besides just looking at this list and getting recommendations, just take some time to go through there.
right.
There's a lot of stuff on there that's at a good price. I just spent $40 on the eShop this paycheck, and I got 6 games for my 3DS.
Nice.
6 of the game, and I think all 6 of them are on this article.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every one of the six is mentioned.
yeah. I got Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Yellow. I got Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons, and then I forget the last 2 were. Like I was down towards like, okay, if I got $10 left, and I was shopping for games that were $5 each. So maybe the last 2 games I bought weren't on here. But yeah, it's you can get some
I
and,
definitely would have
and
got the Metroid Prime set.
yeah,
I would have got Dr. Luigi. Um, there's a few of them that
dude,
I would be interested in. Okay.
those Metroid Prime games work really well. Just a ton of fun, and there's a 4th one in development. So everyone should buy the Metroid Prime trilogy, play the Metroid Prime trilogy, and be prepared for the 4th game.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on now.
Yeah,
But definitely something keep an eye out for. You got about a year before it's all done, but as you see, there's a step down process. That's the main thing you got to remember. But let's go on. Okay, this is my flash from the past. I like to recommend an old movie or TV series for some of the nerds who have not had a chance to check them out. And of course, we're all big Keanu Reeves fans around here. We're also
Yeah.
big sci-fi and role-playing game fans. Before he was ever Neo, he was Johnny Mnemonic. Johnny Mnemonic is a sci-fi fantasy set in the future, where information is the currency that everybody brokers, and so they pay basically net runners to transfer information that they upload to a hard drive in their head, and they physically carry it and then download it at the destination, and people can try to hijack that information and stuff physically. And so usually you get like a bodyguard to go with you. It's very similar to the role-playing game Shadowrun. And so if you've ever played Shadowrun, or Rifts even, it's very similar to both of those games in how the flavor of the game is. In fact, he talks about the currency in the movie is a new yen, because the anticipation is that the Japanese mega corporations would have taken over by this time. So the big currency would be the yen, but the new yen, which encompasses all currency. And new yen is what they used in Shadowrun as their currency as well. Johnny is one of these information carriers. He wants to do this one last run before he retires, because he wants to get his memories back. Because when you put that section of storage in your brain, you have to give up some of your memory files, basically some of your memory storage. And if that gets pulled out, you can possibly get your memories restored. And he wants to be able to get his memory restored and retire. And so he's doing this one last job to do it. And he uses this thing called a doubler, which is kind of like file compression nowadays. Like, he's zipping the file basically in his head so he can carry more storage than he actually has storage for. But because of that, that's making him like he get nosebleeds and the data deterioration and stuff. But he meets up with this street samurai chick who's got wired reflexes, so she's super fast and everything in her reaction times. Because wired reflexes was one of the upgrades that you could buy in the Shadowrun game for your melee-based characters that had cybernetic replacement systems and enhancement systems. And street samurais and stuff often had wire reflexes. So she's a good example of a street samurai or bodyguard archetype. And he's actually carrying around information about a disease/condition that people with cybernetic implants are being afflicted by, and it's got iced tea in it, and it's got some great cinematography, imagery, and it's one of the best portrayals of one of our favorite role-playing games without having to advertise itself as being a portrayal of a role-playing game. You know, it never actually bills itself as Shadowrun the movie, but it really is Shadowrun the movie. And it's one of the earlier Keanu Reeves projects, and little known. But if you're really into sci-fi, and if you're into Keanu Reeves, if you're into role-playing games, and or any of these subjects appeal to you, this is a movie that you want to check out. Now, I have not gone to see where all it is located on the net as of yet. So let me do that real quick. I can
Try to see where you can stream Johnny Mnemonic.
yeah, let's do a to stream. Where to stream Johnny Mnemonic? Do a quick search. It's thinking.
Looks like it's on Netflix.
Is it on Netflix right now?
Yeah, that's what a Google search is telling me.
Uh, where to watch? Currently, it's on. You can rent it at Apple TV for $3.99. Best prices is at Amazon Prime for $2.99, Vudu for $2.99, Apple for $3.99, Google Plus $3.99. Don't know what this thing is, but let's get out. Looks like you can get it on YouTube for $3.99, Microsoft for $3.99, Redbox for $3.99, DirecTV for $3.99. So, and those are to rent, or you can buy it for $12.99 at Apple TV, or Amazon, or Google, or YouTube, or Microsoft, or Redbox, or DirecTV, or $13.99 for Vudu, and
Yeah, I
$12.99
just
for
I
another.
I just confirmed. I logged into Netflix and Johnny Mnemonic's on here.
It is on there.
Yep.
Okay, good. So you can watch it for free on Netflix. So if you've got Netflix, that's the place to go then. Uh, Normally this would tell me those kind of things too, but that's okay. I should have done that search earlier. But anyway, back to Johnny Mnemonic. So check it out if you've not tried it before. It is my flashback recommendation for the week. So from the vault,
Yeah.
we're pulling out Johnny Mnemonic, which is
Yeah, I recommend it as well. I didn't watch it until just a couple of years ago. It was probably like late 2019, early 2020, like pre-pandemic, because I watched it at a friend's house. They convinced me to give it a watch. Which, I mean, it's Keanu Reeves and it's a sci-fi thing, so it wasn't that much of convincing. Um,
it wasn't a hard sell.
and yeah, it wasn't a terribly hard sell, other than just getting the timing down on when to watch it. I think it took us like three different scheduling attempts to get a date that we were all available to get together to watch the movie. Um, but I got to watch it finally, and I thought it was pretty darn good. You know,
It's
you
got
know how it
Dolph.
is sometimes. Like sometimes a movie feels good in the '90s, and then as and then later, it just seems good because of nostalgia or something. So I can tell you from someone who didn't grow up watching it, so I don't have nostalgia goggles. It was still an entertaining movie today.
And it's got Dolph Lundgren in it,
Yeah.
which a lot of people may not realize. Everybody kind of knows who Dolph Lundgren is, but a lot of people don't realize he is actually a genius too.
Yeah, he is.
He
Yeah.
has over 170 IQ, and he's got PhDs. So
Yeah, he's got a PhD in some sort of a chemistry. I don't remember which it was.
yeah, I think it's biochemistry. I
But
recently watched a thing about it, but yeah, you never because looking at him, he's just TV strongman action hero. Nobody would expect that of him, but he's
yeah.
walking around with that full-on PhD. So that's a little bit of trivia for everybody while we're at it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think most people nowadays know like Mian Bialik is a neuroscientist. As well as playing Amy Farrah Fowler on Big Bang Theory, she is a neuroscientist.
Hmm.
Most people know that Winnie from the Wonder Years is a genius. There's a few of them out there that were geniuses, but there's some surprise geniuses out there, and Dolph Lundgren does not fit anybody's image of what a genius looks like, but
Yeah.
he's got over
And I love it
170
because
IQ.
he breaks that stereotype, you know.
He
Kind
totally
of,
does.
he's one of those, you can't judge a book by its cover story.
Right. He's a closet nerd that nobody expected.
Yeah.
So that's great. Anyway, we're going to move on. We don't spend a whole lot of time on these things. We are looking good on time here. We're about what 8:51, so we're almost halfway through our show.
Yeah.
Uh, Next topic is okay. Hundreds of sealed retro '90s games. This is another one of Lurch's topics.
Yeah. Holy crap.
You might want to take note of these game titles, guys. If you've got them
So
on some
yeah,
cartridges.
oh, I saw. Hang on, I'm trying to remember what it was. There was like a video. There was like I think it was a video game store in the '90s that went out of business, and the owner just like boxed everything up and put away in storage. And it's just recently been unearthed. I don't know if it was just. I forget if it was forgotten about. Um, I saw this article, uh, I think yesterday. No, maybe a couple days ago. Yeah, the news broke on Friday, so I probably saw the article on Friday, and I was wanting to talk about it, but I've forgotten a couple of the details. But anyway, yeah, it's got tons of sealed, games from the '90s. We got the '90s X-Men game, which I have a copy of that here, but it's not sealed. It's a fun ass game though. Um, some of these games are going to be worth a fortune, especially if they were to get them graded to see what their condition is like. They got Mortal Kombat 2. They've got Chrono Trigger. They've got all kinds of games. It's insane. Uh, I don't know. They say they're going to sell all of them. Eventually, they're going to sell all the games.
with an
Um,
with an eventual in figure probably in the seven figures. Yeah, I see that.
yeah, yeah. Which, goodness, like I don't know. On one hand, so on one hand, I don't know if this is going to cause prices of these games to go up overall or go down overall. Because on one hand, you're adding more games to the available market. On the other hand, since they're all sealed and being sold, if they sell for a high enough amount, then that might help add credence to the perceived value of retro games and then cause them to go up.
Yeah,
So, either way, though, I think, the more games available, the better. Um, in total. I like that there's this little segment down here where they're looking at a handful of games. A shrink-wrapped copy of TMNT Turtles in Time recently sold for 38,000.
I love that game.
Chrono Trigger for a bit under 20,000. Final Fantasy 3 for 36,000. So, yeah. Oh, here we go. Video game store closes in 1994. Inventory found. 27 years later. Factory sealed. SNES, Sega Genesis, Saturn. Um, I cannot. I cannot believe how much they have here. It's just insane. Um. Oh, let's see what else they got. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Castlevania Bloodlines, Breath of Fire 2. Of course, no shortage of sports games, which I wouldn't expect the sports games to pull in much money.
We'll play video without
Um.
sound.
Yeah, they have an 8-minute video here, but I don't know if you want to like risk for
I'm doing it
the.
without sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I turned the sound off, so we don't have to worry about that.
This is the modern day. This could be the plot of a modern day Uncharted movie. um, finding a finding treasure, or the next National Treasure movie is about finding this video game collection.
Right.
Um, yeah, I'm kind of dumbfounded by this story.
It's actually a bigger collection than yours, man.
Yeah, it's at least a bigger collection of '90s games than I've got. You know, um, I mean,
Boxes and boxes.
my '90s game collection is okay, but pretty small by collector standards. My collection really explodes in the 2000s era because I've got like 500 PS3 games.
Fewer.
Uh, but yeah, I've only got like 18 N64 games. You know, but anyway, I would love to. If I were to come across this, I'd probably keep like one of everything for myself and then sell the rest.
Yeah. Well, like Turtles in Time, any Final Fantasy title um, would be totally in my list of keeps. Um, a lot of the Saturn console and the Saturn game I would have kept because I love Sega Saturn. I actually think it
Yeah.
was a highly underrated console.
Then
Uh,
again, if I could sell, I might. $20,000 for a Chrono Trigger is a lot of money.
for a
If I did
World
have that,
game, oh my god!
I might like if I did have that. I say that, and then I'm like, man, that's so much money. I might end up selling it anyway, and then just buy a loose copy or a complete in box copy for a fraction of the price. Because these sealed ones are. Because if I'm gonna keep it, I'm gonna probably end up opening it to
Well,
play
yeah, because we're gonna want to play
it.
it. That we're not buying
so
it to collect. We're
so
buying it to play.
so so I would probably sell the $20,000 Chrono Trigger and then spend $100 buying
Chrono
uh
Trigger.
buying Chrono Trigger.
Hey, well you're buying it to play. They're buying it
Yeah,
probably to put up on a shelf and collect.
yeah.
That's
I
why you buy a sealed one.
yeah. I have a few things I do that with put up on the shelf. Like I got my 1987 Japanese import of Metal Gear for the MSX2 system, the original Metal Gear game. Um, that one that's like $400 that I keep up in a display case.
If I could come up with an
Um,
original boxed EverQuest install, the one that actually has me listed as a beta tester, I probably would put that up on a shelf. But
yeah,
chances of me finding one that's that old and shrink wrap is like next to nil. But yeah, I get you. Or like original Daggerfall, which has got me listed as a beta tester. Just because I'm in the beta test list is the only reason I want these.
yeah,
It's back when they had so few beta testers that they actually could list them all in the book, in the back of the book. uh, but yeah, this is a heck of a find.
yeah. I'm trying to see if the article here specifies how many games were in that. But I'm not seeing it.
Yeah,
There was one thing about how there's like one specific game, like the apparently the finder is trying to keep someone anonymous, and there's one particular game that they think will be worth a lot, but they don't want to reveal what the title of the game is because um they don't want to they feel that that one particular game is unique enough that it could be potentially identifying of the owner, which seemed like a curious statement. They won't provide the details of the original store either, so we don't know what the name of the old store was. But
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting because they're trying to be mysterious and it feels like about some of the details about the who has it and where it came from.
They probably
Just
don't want to
here's
get the
all
guy swamped with freaking offers and counter offers, and they want
Yeah.
to keep it to a controlled sales environment.
Yeah. There's this line here at the end where Thompson says, "There's a right way and a wrong way of going about this, and honestly, what's more valuable than the stuff itself is the historical significance."
Right?
That's true.
Yeah, if somebody wanted to pick
So,
some of these up for like a video game museum, they'd be good video game museum pieces.
yeah. They have oh, when I went to the Smithsonian, they had a number of video games set up at the museum there. It was really neat to see. Anyway,
Like the
not a whole
first
lot else to say. Just I wish I could stumble across this kind of a treasure trove.
This is what you want to do when you go in and do one of those storage auctions. You want to pull out this kind of find.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you're a
for
treasure hunter
sure.
and you do that, you can retire. It's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
I can live off of this now. I'll just put this up as my unboxing video, and I'll be like my last Twitch broadcast that I have to do for money because I can now do this and retire. uh, and then just do the Twitch videos for fun from then on because I paid for myself. All right. And we're looking into doing that. That's something that me and Allison want to do once COVID calms down a little bit and we get a little bit ahead. Is we want to go do some storage auctions and then me do some unboxing videos on my channel.
okay. Neat.
Because they're getting to be big. Just about anybody will watch an unboxing video from a storage auction. So that
Oh
might
yeah,
give us some content to get a few more people to the channel.
yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to the next thing. And okay, if you have Hulu or HBO Max and you didn't get a chance to see it in theaters because a lot of us aren't going out to theaters right now, then you could see The Kingsman because it released this last weekend on Hulu and HBO Max. It's the third in the Kingsman series. Now, this is by the same author that's done Jupiter's Legacy. He was the same author, so it's kind of loosely related to that universe. Although I don't know if they're going to link them up or not. But then again, the same author also did Kick-Ass and a couple of other things, and we don't know if they're going to link them all up. But we're getting more
Yeah.
and more
And
stuff from that author out there. We got there's a recent cartoon, I forget what it was called. It was Villain something that I watched all of that was in that universe. You were about to say something, Philip?
I was gonna say I know that the Jupiter's Legacy uh did not get renewed for a second season.
No, it did not, which was very disappointing. Uh,
Yeah.
but some of the other titles are still supposed to be going to movies, and of course, like I said, the Kingsmen did very well. The first movie, I hadn't even seen any previews or anything for, and then my girlfriend, she happened to point out it was her favorite movie, and I'd never heard of it. When I watched it, it's a fantastic movie, especially the scene in the church with Freebird playing in the background and him massacring everybody in sight. Oh, that was
Yeah.
great. And of course, this is an adult channel, so we can say foul language here. One of the most surprising, my favorite line of the whole movie, and one of the most surprising lines, is when he comes in contact with the captured princess, and he says, "Oh, sorry, I gotta go save the world now." And she says, "If you save the world, you can do it in the asshole." I was like,
Mm.
"That's knowing how to motivate your troops right there. That's a ruler that knows how to motivate." He's a freaking.
Yeah.
He's basically an overgrown teenager, and you just told him that he could have anal sex with you. he's going to save the
Yeah.
world now. But it just shocked me, man. I about spit my drink out when she said that the first time because I was not expecting that. And so the Kingsman is a great series, and this time we go back to the origin of the group. And we have one of the most premier actors of all time, Ralph Fiennes, playing the original Kingsman, which is a good choice for that. If you want a good British actor, it's hard to find somebody better than Ralph Fiennes to really pull that off. I mean, of course, he was Voldemort. Uh, I mean,
Mm.
what else needs to be said? The guy they chose to ultimately play the final version of Voldemort. And it's a definite redemption from him playing John Steed in the poorly rated Avengers movie. Of course, the Avengers movie was based on a British TV show called The Avengers, which is about John Steed and Emma Peel. And it was a great TV series, and it had so much potential, but the movie couldn't. Sean Connery couldn't even save that movie, and you know that
Hmm.
because Sean Connery was the villain in that movie. He still couldn't save it. Uh, with Uma Thurman, Ralph Fiennes, and Sean Connery, it still was a terrible movie.
Which movie was that?
The Avengers,
Oh,
the
yeah,
British,
the
the
other
Avengers,
Avengers, the British
the British,
Avengers.
the Avengers. The one where it was the secret agent. But this is how you do a secret agent. And if you get a chance, uh, you got two ways to watch it because it dropped, like I said, simultaneously on Hulu and on HBO Max. So, of course, if you have the Hulu version where you can still watch with commercials, you got commercials to deal with, but you can still watch it. If you got HBO Max, no commercials, or if you have the premium Hulu with no commercials, you can watch it that way. So that's really your options for watching a stream now. I think it's hitting stream a little bit faster than I originally expected, which is okay. So definitely check that out. And that's all I gotta say. I mean, I just informed Philip, so he hasn't had a chance to go and watch it yet.
Yeah.
Uh, so he'll probably be doing that, and then hopefully you'll enjoy that. But let's move on. Okay, what we got? Okay, no CW this week because they started back up tonight, which means we'll be viewing them tomorrow and the next day to talk about them next week. But that means we'll be back with Superman and Lois, Naomi, Legends of Tomorrow is the ones we'll be talking about because we don't talk about Batwoman because basically I'm the only one of us that really watches that one of the two of us, and it's just we got out of the habit of talking about Batwoman, and
Hmm.
Naomi is about to lose interest. I think I'm going to give it
Yeah.
to the end of the season, but I don't even know if Philip's going to keep going that far. So this may or may not be the last time we talk about Naomi next week. Who knows? They really need to
Mhm.
they really need to step it up.
Yeah.
So that's our update on the CW verse. We are getting into the media section in earnest now, and the lion's share of this week's show is basically going to be about a couple of season finales that happened last week. First off, we're going to go with the Legends of Vox Machina. Now, I know Philip's not watching that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Uh,
what it is, to be honest.
that's Critical Role, the first campaign of the Critical Role streaming game of Dungeons and Dragons, the one that Matt Mercer
Okay.
and them play.
Yeah.
This is the one that I talked about it last week too. That they had the Kickstarter to make a two-part cartoon
Yeah.
based on that, and they were asking some like 200,000 at the Kickstarter, and they ended up making $11 million and breaking all the records and knocking Mystery Science Theater 3000 off the pedestal as the highest earner in media on Kickstarter. Uh, and they ended up, instead of doing a single like two-parter cartoon, they're now going to do two full seasons, and it's been picked up by Amazon Prime. So you can actually watch it on Amazon Prime now. The full first season is now out because the finale, they were putting out 3 episodes a week, and this last week was the last 3 episodes. So you got a full set of 12 episodes you can watch. It's great. I can kind of name the characters that are on the screen right now. The guy with the gun is Percy. That's played by Taliesin and Jaffe. The gnome next to that is Pikel or Pike, played by Ashley Johnson. You might know her as the blonde waitress from the Avengers movie that Captain America saves, or you might know her as the tech girl from Blind Spot. Then you have Grog, the Goliath barbarian, played by Travis Willingham. Then you have Scanlan, the gnome bard, played by Sam Riegel. We have Keyleth, the Ashari druid, played by Marisha Ray, Matt Mercer's wife. Then you've got Vax Aldine, played by Liam O'Brien. And then Vexalia, his twin sister, played by Laura Bailey, the wife of Travis Willingham. And the DM for the group is Matt Mercer, who was, of course, the villain in the last, in the third and fourth Mythica movies. He's also been in a few other live action things, but he's more well known for being a voice actor, playing just about everybody in voice acting. Matt Mercer and Sam Riegel especially are like in everything. Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham are probably more well known for Dragon Ball Z. But there are a bunch of voice actors and some live action acting who come together to play Dungeons and Dragons for 4 hours every week on Thursday nights on Twitch on the Critical Role channel. And they got this conversion of their first campaign because they're in their second. No, they just started their third campaign now, but it's irreverent. It's funny. It's an amazing story. It's got very dark themes. With the villains in the first season are total freaking assholes, let me tell you. And it's worth checking out. So that's our first big season finale for the week, but probably not the biggest one we're going to talk about because I'm the only one here that's watching it right now. I definitely think Philip needs to take a chance and watch it when he gets a chance. It is on Amazon Prime, so look for Legend of Vox Machina. And it's just 12 episodes, so it's not going to take too much of your time. And by the time you're done, you'll absolutely love it. I guarantee it.
I like this art. I like the art style that's in this image.
The art and everything. It's done. The animation studio that does it is Titmouse. And I had not heard of them before this. But then they also did the animated episode of Hot in Cleveland. I found out later when we were watching Hot in Cleveland, Titmouse did an animated episode of that, which was the last real project that Betty White worked on.
I'll have to check this show out. It wasn't really on my radar because I don't watch Critical Role. I saw some of Critical Role, but
I'm so behind. I stopped watching it because, unfortunately, 4 hours at a chunk is just hard to fit in with everything else we got to do.
Yeah.
But
And I guess that's a lot
I
of it
do love
is
it.
yeah, I most of what I've watched of Critical Role was like highlight reels, basically, like clips of it. Um,
I have a
you know,
tendency to
whether
watch
it's
their one shots more than their main campaigns now. I know Chris and John watch them religiously every week.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it's a big thing for them, and it's big. Well, I would watch it if I could, with my chronic fatigue and everything. If I could get through a 4 hour show without falling asleep, even if I'm interested in it, I can't always stay awake because of that. Uh, but I would love to. It's rare that I can get through a full 4 hour thing. I've done a few. I've done like the Snyder cut of Justice League, which is about 4 hours. Uh, uh,
yeah.
and I've done some episodes of Critical Role. I watched all of the first campaign, and I watched part of the second campaign, but then I had to drop off because I just couldn't dedicate 4 hours every Thursday to it. I used to watch it with Allison, and she loves Critical Role. Don't get me wrong; she's especially a big Taliesin Jaffe fan. Uh, he's the executive goth, after all, and in fact, that's his email address: executive goth at Critical Role, among others. What? It's also his email address. Yes. Oh, and a few different things. But it's his Twitter handle and a few other things too. A lot of people use
Oh,
that same theme through a few different mediums. Um, anyway, but we're going to move forward from this because there's not much I can tell you till you guys get a chance to actually check it out. I don't know when season 2 is going to come out, but I think it's supposed to be already fully written and ready to go, which means we may not have too long before the next season comes out. They just haven't announced it yet. But we're going to go on to probably our feature for the week, and we're going to do something special for the feature. We're going to talk about Peacemaker because we had the Peacemaker finale, and we've mentioned on the show Peacemaker since it's been playing. Of course, if you watch The Suicide Squad, the second Suicide Squad movie, you know that John Cena's character Peacemaker was an interesting character to say the least. Well, he had already had slotted his own HBO Max show coming out even before Suicide Squad premiered. And James Gunn did helm that, just like he helmed the Suicide Squad. So, of course, excellence is going to be had. But one of the main things me and Lurch have tried to express to you guys when we've talked about the show is the introduction to the show because it's so ludicrous that you have to watch it. It's mesmerizing. So what we're going to do this
yeah,
time is we're going to go ahead and risk putting it on the show. We don't know if it's going to get a copyright ding or not, but we're going to go ahead and try it this time. So if it gets copyright ding, that means this show will not go over to our YouTube for rebroadcast because I'll end up deleting it just so that we're not stepping on copyrighted materials. But I don't think it will because this is a just an intro to a show. But we'll see.
yeah.
But we've been talking about it, so you really kind of got to do it. And so here it is. I've got it queued up and ready to go.
All right.
And
So one of my favorite things here, they're doing this silly dancing. Oh, jeez. They're doing the silly dancing, but they are got this very serious faces on
I
them.
know they all act like you're freaking committing murder or something. Is that serious?
Yeah. I think the one that like amuses me the most is hardcore because she's always like so intense, and
Oh,
then
I
on here
know.
just dancing around.
And then his dad. the white dragon.
Yeah. 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 Oh, and then this other part, the cops here. I don't know why I like these cops. That particular move there, where they're doing the things with their elbows and their knees going together.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing is just great. And then there comes Judo Master, and then
Yeah.
Igly. Okay.
Judo Master just hops out of a trap door in the floor
Yeah.
and joins at the very end.
And that's on HBO Max. And they just did their season finale last week, and oh my god. Okay, just to give a brief recap of what this season was about. After the events in the Suicide Squad, a lot of people was wondering if the miniseries was going to be like a prequel before Suicide Squad or if it was after. It does occur after. I guess Peacemaker does survive, however narrowly, the end of the Suicide Squad, which was in question. And he gets basically assigned to, more like some of Amanda Waller's flunkies from the movie get assigned to Peacemaker, kind of like as punishment for them supporting him at the end against Waller's wishes. So they're going out to stop this invasion of the butterflies. Okay? Doesn't sound as scary as it is, because these butterflies are these aliens. They climb in through your mouth, take over your brain, and they're basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the insect edition. And they're going to fight them, and in the very beginning of the movie, they add this new person to the team as well, who turns out to be Amanda Waller's daughter. And she actually has really no interest in being a secret agent or spy or nothing. It's just she needed work. Her mom gave her work. She's doing it just because her and her wife need to get a little caught up with the bills and stuff. And so she takes the job that her mom gives her, even though she's more of a pacifist, kind of doesn't want to get into all this thing. But I guess she turns out to have an aptitude for some of it. And she's also Amanda Waller's eyes and ears on the team. But they're working with Peacemaker to chase down these aliens. And of course, with Peacemaker as a combo package, they get this other guy called Vigilante. Okay, Vigilante is a sociopath.
Yeah.
He has no idea of true empathy for the human condition in any way, shape, or form. He is an idiot savant of a serial killer superhero vigilante.
Yeah.
First off, he thinks that his costume is enough to keep people from knowing who he is, but his actions totally tell you who he is. He's terrible at playing it off. He likes to fantasize about killing people with everything, including a chainsaw, and then he gets upset when somebody else gets to kill somebody with a chainsaw instead of him.
So that was hilarious because he's like he brings out the chainsaw. Like, what are you doing? He's like, I want to kill somebody with a chainsaw. I've always had a dream of killing someone with a chainsaw. Put the chainsaw back. Come on, please. I really want to do it.
We're not going to get in a situation where you're going to kill somebody with a chainsaw. Put the chainsaw back. And then by the end of that episode, Economist, the nerd, the computer guy of the troop, ends up killing somebody with, guess what? His chainsaw.
Yeah. Was that
pissed?
Yeah. Vigilante gets pissed about it.
He did that on purpose. He knew I wanted to kill somebody with a chainsaw, and he did it just to spite me. Because he is.
That was great.
Peacemaker has a pet eagle, as you saw at the end of the intro video. That's Eagly, because he's really good at naming things. He's got such creativity. The Eagly. And in fact, there's a scene in one of the episodes where he's talking to a class of kids, and they ask, "Is like, why'd you name your eagle Eagly?" He says, "Why'd you name him a stupid name like that?" He says, and he's like, "I don't know, why are you the now my least favorite?"
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, why are you my least favorite kid in this
in this class,
class?
yeah. And, uh, it was great though.
And throughout the show, he makes like other heroes, other characters in the Marvel universe gets brought up. Like there's a
Superman.
neighbor. There's this neighbor to
Oh,
his dad's house
the
that's
Russian
like
guy.
always insulting him, and he's like you're not a hero. Batman's a hero. And he's like fuck Batman. He's like Batman has a great rogues gallery of villains. Who's your rogues gallery? He's like I don't have a rogues gallery because I put my rogues gallery 6 feet under. Batman's too much of a pussy to do it.
And the neighbor's the guy that's mopping the floor in the intro video.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
the old guy mopping. And then I think he said that Wonder Woman hit on him once. Um,
And Superman's a
uh,
pussy. And
yeah. Aquaman fucks fish.
yes.
The dude fucks fish. I can't trust him.
Oh, and then there's somebody says, but you do fuck fish. He's like, fuck you, man.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the Flash saying, but that one's true. It's like, fuck you,
That's not a rumor. Fuck you, Barry.
fuck you, Barry. That was great.
Yeah, yeah. We got in the
Tiny
season finale.
micro
In the season,
micro cameo. Yeah.
yeah, we got a cameo of we had Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller show up as Flash and Aquaman, and then we had a Superman and a Wonder Woman there, but we couldn't see
Silhouettes.
their faces.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had
they were more like
silhouettes of the rest of the Justice League, basically.
yeah. The Batman didn't show up at all though. There was no
But I
appearance of
thought there was
Batman
a
in that Justice League.
cyborg silhouette, wasn't there?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just the four.
But Barry actually says, "Well, that one's not a rumor," and Jason Momoa
Yeah,
looks over and says, "Fuck you, Barry."
yeah. Because Peacemaker says something about go fuck another fish or something like that, and walks away from him. And then Aquaman is like, "Man, I really hate that rumor." And Barry goes, "Oh, that's not a rumor."
Because they had
Fuck
showed
you,
up
Barry.
after they saved the day. It says, "Yeah, you're late, fuckers."
Yeah, yeah. They get there too late. The day's over. Oh, hang on, I dropped something I don't want to step on.
Yeah, because the butterflies had to, of course, they're aliens, and they don't eat human food. They eat this gel, this slime, and they had to go find the cow that produces the slime, which ends up being this giant silly faced bucktooth worm.
Yeah,
It has the most comical silly face. And they had to go destroy it, and they destroyed it with basically Peacemaker's menagerie of helmets that his dad had created for him. And I'm not going to go into detail because I want people to go watch it so they can see how they use the helmets to kill the cow and a bunch of the aliens. But that's
I love
what they
that bit
did.
though, where like he's explaining what helmets he has with him as
Oh
they're trying to
yeah,
figure out what to do,
and then one of
and
them,
and then and Waller's daughter, whose name I can't remember right now,
me
she's like,
neither.
"How does this one work?" You say activate anti gravity, and it starts to fly off.
Did you say activate anti? Well, see, I didn't know it was that sensitive. It was like,
Yeah.
but it was hilarious. There are so many incompetency gags in this show, which is, I think, that's the thing it focuses on is incompetency gags.
Yeah.
Everybody is incompetent, and so there is nobody that comes in who's super competent that saves the day. No, dumb luck saves the day all the time.
Just pretty much, yeah.
I mean, there's a time when uh, they go to get Eagly checked out at a veterinarian, and um, Vigilante is going to go kill the veterinarians because of his no empathy thing. But he tells him not to wrap him up with duct tape because that shit hurts, man.
Yeah.
Because he's got empathy for the duct tape thing, but not for the killing thing. But then at the end of it, and they're going to go kill the cow, and everybody's saying they're in, and then there you see the veterinarians. We're in. No, you're not coming with us.
Yeah. That was the previous episode. The second to last episode.
Yeah, we're going through like kind of the whole season here as a little bit of a recap.
So,
But this episode was mainly the confrontation with the cow in the barn and the mass of cops taken over by freaking butterflies.
Mm-hmm. And we got to see, you briefly alluded to earlier, Amanda Waller's daughter, who seems to be a pacifist. She got to be a badass for a little bit. She was whipping people around and shooting people real well. She was, she's all like everyone except for the guy with the computer guy, the tech guy. Everyone else is a good fighter. Yeah, Economist. Everyone but Economist is actually a solid fighter. Economist, he tries to charge in the battle and immediately trips and breaks his leg.
Economist is just, he has no business being in battle. He's there to be their tech analyst. But every once in a while he gets his one thing, like to piss Vigilante off by killing someone with a chainsaw. You know, he does that just to piss Vigilante off.
Yeah, that's why he did it.
That's his whole
not to save anyone's life or to survive. He did it to piss off Vigilante.
His actual reason to do it, but his reason in the script for doing it is to piss Vigilante off.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a tour de force or tour de farce of comic proportions that you really want to see. It's all on HBO Max now, the whole season, so you don't have to worry about biting your nails waiting for the next installment. You can just binge it out and everything. We're looking forward to, I don't know about anybody else, but I can guarantee you Lurch is. We're looking forward to another season of this if they can pull it off, because that's
it's been announced.
Shit.
It's been announced. James Gunn is already working on writing it. He's going to be writing the whole and directing for the second season as well. It's been renewed.
Nice.
Yep.
Because I want to revisit them. I want to revisit Hardcore. I want to revisit Waller's daughter. I definitely want to revisit Vigilante and Peacemaker because it's such an interesting dynamic. His father gets killed, but that doesn't keep him from being around in flashbacks and shit. So we'll still might see a little bit more of him. We might even get to know a little bit about his brother that he killed, even though he killed his brother in childhood. So there's not a lot to know. But you never know. With Barry involved in the DC universe, they've opened up their multiverse, so we could always get alternative versions of things too. You never know what might come about in the future of the DC universe. DC is definitely doing a better job on TV than they are in movies, but this one did a really good tie-in to the movies, and it tied into some of their better movies. So, plus it has James Gunn. You know.
Did you? I don't remember which episode it was, but there was an episode near the end where someone mentioned Batmite. This is a name drop I was surprised about.
You're right. Yeah, nobody ever mentions Batmite.
Yeah.
Batmite is a little imp.
A fifth dimensional imp from the comics that loves Batman.
Yeah, basically
obsessed with Batman's.
Kind of from the same dimension as Mr. Mxyzptlk, but he's obsessed with Batman, and he's like an overgrown child, and he dresses up in his version of a Batman costume and follows Batman around and just annoys the fuck out of him, just like Mr. Mxyzptlk does to Superman all the time. Except Batmite's a little different. Batman's a lot different.
Yeah. They have the same powers, come from the same place, but they have different personalities.
Yeah. He's a fifth dimensional imp, so he's got all the powers of Mxyzptlk. But
okay, so the name of Waller's daughter is Adebayo, which is that's why it's difficult for me to remember. Adebayo. It's a tough name.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to pronounce. I'm sure there's other people that are more ingrained in the culture where that's a
A
pretty
normal name. Yeah.
traditional name for them. And easy to pronounce. It's a little difficult for me.
Yeah, a little
I have to admit.
difficult for me too. But we're going to see more of them then in the next season. We might even get to see more of Adebayo's wife.
Yeah,
See how
I
she
was
factors into
hoping for
things.
more. I was hoping to see more of the wife of Adebayo's wife.
I want to see how she
Um,
factors into things truly,
yeah,
because especially now that Adebayo is embracing the fact that she might actually have an aptitude at this. Because at the end, she did have that realization of herself that she did, in fact, say, "Well, Mom's right. I am actually kind of a natural at this, even though she wants to be more of a pacifist and she wants to get out of it. She's actually good at it. So
yeah,
it's going to be a thing. Anyway, that was our show basically for the week. We're done a little early, but you know what? We've run over so many times. I don't mind getting off a little early this week. By the
yeah.
time we're
Me
done
neither.
saying our goodbyes, it might be normal time anyway because it always takes us a minute.
Yeah,
But
I had a long work day. I started at 6 a.m. um this morning.
I was
It's
up
rough.
last night playing leagues in old school RuneScape, and I played till about something like 9:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning before I came out and went to bed. And then I got up
Oh yeah,
and did, stuff. And then I made dinner tonight and then still started the show. So I've been pretty
yeah.
active for myself this week.
I'm
But,
trying. I'm trying to work on Horizon Forbidden West, which has been a fantastic game so far.
oh,
Um,
yeah.
I was originally planning on taking vacation this week, like this whole week, so I didn't have to work and I could just play games and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But since I got sick in January, it's caused a lot of a cascading effect.
Right.
Causing because I have
Yeah.
projects I gotta complete,
Right. Yeah,
and so
and that always the way it could screw up your vacation plans if you end up getting sick. Then you have to
yeah,
stay through what you normally would have done for vacation in order to make sure the shit's done on your to-do list.
yeah. So instead of taking vacation, so instead of being off of work and playing extra video games, I'm working extra to make up for the time I lost while I was sick. It sucks.
Yeah. But you had time to get you to give yourself a new haircut, looking good. Um,
Yeah, I absolutely had to get a haircut, and um I couldn't deal with it. It was getting too uncomfortable, too warm.
you went for a soft mohawk kind of look.
Yeah. I mean, it's more. I got it brushed over to the side.
Right,
Like if I were to spike it, it would be much more mohawk looking.
but it's a soft mohawk. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a comb over mohawk. uh,
So
but
it's hard mohawks are hard with headphones.
right. So anyway, we'll be here next week. We'll be back to talking about the CW verse. We've got more things coming up in the future. The Batman is coming out in theaters in the beginning of March. If you're going to go, if you make it venture out into the theaters, you can check that out and see what you think of Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne slash Batman. As it was pointed out to me by somebody else, and goes along with I still not necessarily thinking Pattinson can do it, but then I still don't see him as a great actor. He also doesn't have a strong enough chin to wear a half cowl, in my opinion. And you got to be able to have a strong chin to wear a half cowl. That's the other thing. But regardless, he's got like a Pee Wee Herman chin. uh, but that's my own personal bias. But that'll be coming out. We've got Moon Knight getting ready to come out on Marvel the end of March.
Yeah, end of March.
Um, We've got several movies on the way. Multiverse of Madness is in May now, I think. Was it
Yeah.
May 6th?
Begin beginning of May, yeah.
Yeah, May 6th. Way looking forward to that one, especially with the teaser of possibly getting uh, Professor Xavier as a cameo in there because we got a Patrick Stewart voice coming from the shadows. Uh, that really makes us think that we might actually get our X-Men crossover. That has
Yeah.
been the most debated thing in the Marvel universe, I think, since all the acquisitions started, was how and when they were going to bring the X-Men into the cinematic universe. So bringing Professor Xavier in any way, shape, or form, if it happens, is going to be such a landmark event that people are going to be talking about the multiverse of madness for decades. I mean,
Sure.
and we're looking forward to it. I mean, and that's one where I will probably brave COVID to go out and see. That's one I might actually even get Allison to brave COVID to go out and see.
I don't know about that.
That's one of the few that might convince her.
I highly doubt that.
She still says that I highly doubt because COVID's scaring the shit out of her.
No.
She just recently had another COVID test. It was negative,
Oh.
but she had to have another test because the kid was sick last week.
Mm.
They both
I
came
have a
back
fri-
negative, but
I have a friend that's in the ICU on a ventilator right now.
ooh, ventilators suck.
It, yeah.
Yeah, stay safe, people, please. I know that there's all kinds of conspiracy theories out there and all kinds of things, but you know what? They're not they're not putting microchips in the vaccines to track you. If they wanted to track you, you carry a cell phone around with you. Trust me, they can track you.
Yeah.
Everybody has a cell phone and a smartwatch and an iPod and an e-reader and tablet and a laptop. Trust me, they can track you. There's a chip in your freaking credit cards that they could possibly track. You have no way of knowing. So don't worry about them putting a chip into the vaccine. Go get the vaccine. Wear your masks. It's not just for you, it's for everybody else around you and getting the virus to go away so that we can start living our lives. We got game coming in October, and I'd really like to see COVID calm down enough to where game was an enjoyable experience for everybody. Especially since
Yeah.
this is going to be our penultimate game. It's our farewell to arms for everybody. Game year 12, basically. And we would really like that to go off without a hitch, and it would be great if we saw everybody there. Me and Lurch have fully planned to be there. VisionCon is coming up in like April. I'm probably not going to make physical VisionCon because it's still not something I want to go in that big a crowd for, and I hate it because I've rarely missed a VisionCon, and I've been a panelist and a GM and everything at VisionCon. When they did virtual VisionCon, I did a couple of good panels virtually, but VisionCon is getting ready to come out in like April. So we're trying to get things back to normal, but let's do our part to make it so we can get things back to normal more. Like we don't even have a picnic plan for this year because logistics of it was just too difficult. Too late in the season to really reserve the pavilion. Too many unknowns about everything. But we'd really like, even though this is going to be the penultimate game, that doesn't mean we won't want to try to do like the picnic next year or something like that. We'll see what happens with all those kind
Yeah.
of things and everything. So stay safe out there, everybody. I think that's the most important thing we want to get through to you guys. Keep up as much of your nerdy activities as you can. Keep thinking, keep reading, keep playing games. Interact virtually if you can't interact physically. but be conscientious of your fellow gamer out there, and don't go in the hospital yourself, and don't send one of them to the hospital. Just be cautious, be safe.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it a night tonight, just a little bit early. But we'll hit you with the hard hitting CW verse next week. Come back with a full load of regular topics, and be back on full swing next week. And we appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Oh, and
See ya.
cold weather's coming in tomorrow, so be prepared for that too.
Be prepared. Now we're gonna get a copy strike from Disney for copying Lion King. Bye.
Yeah, may all your rolls be 20, may all your failures be epic, and as they say in Mortal Kombat, finish him. Have a good night, guys.
All right.